Hello and welcome back to Boxing Social in association with Betfred. My name is Ayman Khan and I'm here today to talk to the man who is fast approaching his return to the ring next month, April 2nd. He is the one and only Nathan Gorman. Nathan, first of all, how's life treating you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Hope everything's good your end.
Yeah, all good my end, all good my end. I said to you, you're looking tired, but I was hiding the fact that I'm looking tired, Nathan. Didn't quite spot that one. But Nathan, let's get straight into it. You're back in the ring, April
Yeah,
2nd. How you been ticking
yeah.
along, keeping yourself going in that time that you've been out?
Been really good, to be fair. Been staying in the gym and stuff. Been doing a lot of sparring. Like I said, obviously I had 2 or 3 dates beforehand, but boxing, sometimes it falls through and that. And we've got this penciled in date, April the 2nd. Got a live opponent, American and Scott Alexander. Never been stopped. Been there some quite good names as well, some big punches. So he looks very durable, and I imagine he'll give me some rounds. So yeah, it's the first one back. It's a good fight for me for the first one back as well after just over a year out the ring when I box. So it'd be good for me. Hopefully, get the ball rolling. Then I can't look past obviously April 2nd first, but get him out the way. Then move on to the next one probably in 8-9 weeks time frame after that. Something that's ideally what I want. Just want to be really busy.
Getting the ball rolling is a good phrase to use, I think, because with you, I think people want to see you kind of get back in the ring and get back out there, get back active. In the time that you've been out the ring, what's the feeling in terms of you saying you had fights fall through on numerous occasions there? It must kind of feel a sense of frustration to not have those fights come through. Finally getting a date there, but there could have been dates before.
Oh, it is annoying because obviously you're training and as you're training really hard, then you think you got a date, then it gets pulled out, then you got to go bring yourself back down, and you got this potential date, and you're training again, then something happens. So it's annoying, but it's boxing. It happens, doesn't it? It's not easy. But at least we got a date now, So 3 weeks Saturday, I'm just really looking forward to getting back on those lights, especially with the crowds back now, because I haven't boxed in front of a crowd since I boxed down in Dubois, which is 2019. Because obviously the last 2 fights has been in the height of COVID, so it was really restricted with the crowd, etc.
You mentioned obviously your opponent there, Scott Alexander. You mentioned he hadn't been stopped either in the losses that he has had. In terms of the style breakdown of what he brings to the ring, have you studied the tape on him, or is this about you implementing what you do best here, Nathan?
I've seen videos of him. He's got like a good defense. He's very good defensively. He's quite fast. He's a good opponent. He's far from a bum or he's far from a mug. So hopefully, I just got to do the job. Like you said, I just got to concentrate on what I'm doing on the night and get the win. That's the main thing.
Is this about getting that stoppage or knockout victory here too? Like you mentioned, he hadn't been stopped there, so there's that bit of extra carrot there to kind of put that statement out there. So is that on your mind here?
Of course, listen, every boxer in the world would love a stoppage, but winning's winning, in my opinion. Obviously, listen, if I can go out there and stop him within a round, I'm gonna. But if you got to revert to plan B, that's what you have to do. You got to try and find all different ways to adapt and win. As long as you're winning, it's the main thing.
You mentioned obviously this will be your first time back in front of crowds since COVID. Newcastle is the location. Newcastle love their boxing as well. Must be nice to be in front of them, I suppose, too.
100%. I boxed in Newcastle before, and when Liam Smith boxed Liam Williams for the second time, that was in Newcastle, and the good fans, really, really good. They love the boxing as well. Good people.
Does that bring a different sense to it too? Because it's coming back to something that was normal before, but wasn't normal for a certain period of time. So is there a little bit of kind of extra kind of feeling towards that coming back to having to please the fans in a sense too?
Yeah, definitely. Because like you said, it's been 2-3 years, however long it's been since no fans have been allowed in venue. And now we're back to virtually normality. So it's good to see. It's definitely good to see because from past experience, me boxing in the COVID bubble, it was weird, really weird, because I think the fans, the cheer you want, get behind you and things like that, I can give you that extra burst of energy and stuff. But in that COVID bubble, you could hear a penny drop. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Wasserman have made moves now, signing with Channel 5, which is a big deal, big move. Hennessy were previously with Channel 5, but you being with Wasserman, this must mean that you, coming off of the back of this fight with the win, hopefully from your perspective, will be able to get a bit of a free national TV spotlight on you, which is kind of a big boost for fighters coming through.
Well, definitely. Look at the viewing numbers. Terrestrial TV does Channel 5, etc. It's massive. You can average 800,000, 1 million plus viewers. So if you get a big fight on there, a good fight as well, imagine how many numbers that'll do.
Let's talk about, Nathan, the domestic scene. You're in there amongst a number of thriving heavyweights. The scene's thriving in general. Who, Nathan, amongst that scene, do you see as your greatest challenge?
Oh, I don't know. They're all good fighters. Like you just said there, probably since the last 30 years, there's never been a better time to be a heavyweight. Like you said, you just look domestically. I mean, Britain's obviously leading the way, obviously apart from some of the belts in Ukraine, but Tyson Fury, Joshua, Fury-Whyte, Derek Chisora, Joyce, self, Dubois, Hughie Fury. Look how many, just in Britain alone, how many fighters there, Fabio Wardley, how many fighters there alone just in Britain. So there's some fantastic fights to be made there. And to be fair, I can't see why virtually all of us can fight each other somewhere down the road.
I talked to you about the Wasserman time with Channel 5, but you've been sparring with a number of Wasserman heavyweights, so those kind of coming through, the prospects coming through. Let's start off with Hosea Stewart, a big heavyweight, a big heavyweight who's getting quite a bit of traction online because of, I suppose, the size as well, and that kind of aspect to him. But talk to me about the sparring you've done with Hosea.
Yeah, I was sparring Hosea maybe 2 weeks ago. To be fair, I'm sparring him again this Friday, I think. Friday or Thursday, I'm sparring him. Good kid, really nice kid as well. Got quite fast hands because he's a big man. He's 26, 27 stone, whatever weight he is. He's a big man. Again, it's all experience for him. He's only 1-0 as a professional. He's got to keep building and building like I did, like us all really. And yeah, as long as he gives his 100% effort to himself, that's all you can really ask for. He's a good kid, to be fair.
Matty Harris, bit of a different frame. Have you seen much of Matty Harris?
Yeah, I've sparred Matty twice. I don't want to lie. I think is it twice I've sparred him? Yeah, twice I've sparred him. Same again. Experience. He's only 1-0 as a fighter. Just needs building and keep on doing what he's doing. Really.
We've talked about the domestic scene. There's a name that gets linked with you very much on and often when it comes to interviews with yourself or the other fighter, that being Fabio Wardley. The kind of spin I want to put on this, Nathan, is does that fight only happen if it is for the British title, in your opinion, Nathan?
Yeah, I think so. Unless it's for a British or European or something along them lines, a good title, and there's no point really, is there? Granted, it's a good fight for people to watch, but it's got to be something in it for us. All money.
Wise fighters at the end of the day, Nathan. What do you make of Fabio's progression?
Doing really well. I can't sit here and discredit him. I think he's a really good fighter. I had him in camp with me for 2 weeks, I think, when I was boxing down in Dubois. Nice lad as well. Really good fighter. Quite fast. Like you said, with his progression, he's done really well. English champion. He's defended it twice now or once. So yeah, another good domestic heavyweight.
You mentioned him having him in the camp there for you for the sparring. How were those sessions?
Yeah, good mate. Well, I can remember I was only doing like 3 to 4 rounds because I had 3 different sparring partners. So I was doing like, say 3 with Fabio or 4 with Fabio, then 3 with another lad and 4 with another lad. Like chopping and changing. So you can't really gauge when you're doing a 3-4 round spar. You can get to see your opponent, but you can't really gauge much. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. At the top of the tree, let's look there. Tyson Fury versus Dillian-Whyte. A very interesting press conference. As the whole will he, won't he turn up? It turned out he wouldn't turn up. But first, I just want to get your thoughts on how that kind of fight plays out here, Nathan?
I think Tyson stops from under 8. I do. Just too good, too big, too strong. Just too good, to be fair. I don't think at this present moment there's anyone to beat Tyson. Tyson being 110% right.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think no one beats. The only person who beats Tyson is himself. I don't think no one at this present moment beats him. My personal opinion, anyway. Like I said, the only thing that's going to beat him is himself. I think Dillian Whyte, listen, very, very good fighter. You can't sit here and call the man. Man's world class. But it's just levels. This and Tyson Fury is a level on his own.
Were you surprised that Dillian didn't turn up to the press conference?
Yeah and no. I can understand one thing. His brain will be getting pecked in by Tyson because I swear he's not going to help talk Tyson, is he? He's not going to get on Nick Tyson's skin. So he probably thought to his approach, the best thing for me to do is sit at home and try and get under his skin that way. But on the other hand, it's one of the biggest fights in British soil for God knows how many years since, well, God knows when, since Bruno and Lewis. Probably even bigger than that, to be fair. Would you not want to attend your first press conference? You know, a sold out Wembley Arena, they're on about there's going to be 100,000 plus people there. The biggest purse in British boxing history for a fight. It's something you want to tell your children, your grandchildren, isn't it? Mm-hmm. If you're not there. But there's pros and cons, as I imagine, to it.
We've seen Tyson adapt his style. We've seen him be the boxer. We've seen him be the destroyer. How do you feel he approaches this fight with Dillian?
I think, truthfully, I think he'll go out and just plant bombs on him. He'll probably be at 19, 20 stone, throwing some leather, and that's going to do a lot of damage. That's a 20 stone man throwing some bombs at you. One's going to catch it, let's be honest. It's going to do some damage.
Mm-hmm. Daniel Dubois, former opponent, is going. Purse bids have been ordered for Trevor Bryan. But how do you see that fight playing out?
2 rounds, I reckon. Daniel Dubois will splatter him in 2 rounds. Truthfully, my opinion, Joe Joyce probably should have got the shot. You know, without being horrible, he beat Daniel. So Joe Joyce needs his world title shot, in my opinion. But it's good matchmaking, isn't it? But yeah, 2 rounds. Without being horrible, I don't discredit any fighter. Trevor Bryan in Daniel's league.
And Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk, it looks like obviously we won't get that fight immediately. What's going on with Ukraine, bigger things obviously at play naturally. But AJ maybe in the interim will take that interim fight there. Is that something you think he needs, considering the switch and change?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I seen somewhere yesterday that I think Joyce is mandatory for a WBO shot or something like that. I think I read. I'd like to see Joyce versus Joshua. I would. To be fair, I'd prefer to see that than Usyk versus Joshua again, because everyone's already saw Usyk Joshua again. It's rather going to go 2 ways. Joshua knocks him out, or Usyk does the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it'd be interesting to see Joyce versus Joshua.
Very interesting fight indeed, with the size and the 2 heavyweights, the Olympic
and
background.
The engine on Joe Joyce as well, the ferocity of his punches. I think a lot of people underestimate Joe Joyce. You know, because they look at him and think, oh, he's hard on the eye and things like that. But when you're in there with him, Joe Joyce is a very, very hard man to beat.
Who would you pick as the favourite there?
Truthfully, mate, I don't know. Everyone was saying I was simple for backing Joe Joyce against Daniel Dubois, but I knew deep down what would happen. Joe Joyce the way he fights, he's no back gear, as he just keeps coming forward, throwing 1,000,001 punches, and he can do that for 12 rounds. So I don't know. Is Joshua the same Joshua as he was in 2015, 2016? You know, people are saying he's gun shy. You don't know. I don't know. So you can't be gun shy with Joe Joyce because he'll just smother you. But on the other hand, Joe Joyce is not the best of movers. And let's be fair, you want to be a good mover, Anthony Joshua, because if he hits you, he'll take your head off your shoulders. So that's why I think it's a very, very intriguing fight. Very, very intriguing fight.
Finally, before I bring back to you, Nathan, Taylor Catterall was a couple of weeks back now. Dust has firmly settled on the controversial scoring. Seems to be an inquest going into that. But I want to know, as a fighter, Nathan, with a string of kind of recent kind of bad decisions, does that hurt your confidence in the judging as when you go and step through the ropes at all?
It is bad, mate, because let's be fair, if you're, I don't know, 12, 13-year-old, and you're obsessed with boxing, and you're watching that fight, and you're watching obviously Cattrall, a young lad was worked from no age at all for one dream, one night, that half an hour, because that's all that fight was, half an hour, 12 rounds, 36 minutes if you want to get down to it. And he's worked his whole life, in my opinion, won convincingly for everything just to be taken away from him. You know, it's bad. And I can see, you'd understand if Cattrall retired. You know, because that's how it would sicken you that much. You could understand that. It's terrible to see, to be fair, like people's dreams being ripped away from them. Because every boxer in the world works hard, no matter what level you're at. Every single one of them, even journeymen, deserve respect. So when they get to that level, like Cattrall did against Taylor, and he's, let's be fair, done a masterclass, got the tactics perfectly spot on. And he got, his dreams took away from his bad. But what can you do? I'd like to see the rematch. Or at least, if Taylor moves up a weight, Jack to fight for the belts again. Not just the WBO, all of them, like he did against Taylor, because I think he deserves it.
Bringing this back to you, Nathan, I was looking through your Instagram and you put up a post. It was a few weeks, well, a number of weeks now ago. It was a birthday post, a picture of yourself as a young kid. And when I saw that picture, I thought that young Nathan Gorman coming through boxing would have had dreams and ambitions that you still have now. Do you still feel that you're on the path to achieving those dreams in your boxing career?
Definitely, mate. Listen, all you need in boxing, you got to work hard and you need a bit of luck, because for all the best in the world, it's boxing. You could be good. You could be winning 11 and a half rounds. You get to the last 30 seconds, you switch off, bump. Especially in my weight, you switch off, bump, you've lost. So you just got to keep working hard. Obviously, believe in yourself is the main thing. Not just boxing, anything what you do, you got to believe in yourself. But yeah, that picture, I was 11 years old in that picture.
Mm-hmm. Time flies, eh? Time flies indeed.
Does mate. I remember it being taken yesterday, 14 years ago.
Time flies, and time's flying towards your return to the ring. Nathan, for people who are going to be watching you on April 2nd, what can they expect to see?
Hopefully a knockout, God willing, but first and foremost to win. That's the main thing. Tune in and obviously find out.
Nathan, pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for speaking to Boxing Social. We'll speak soon.